Steven. The snap drops, throws a slant left side, and there goes LaVisca, and he's on his way. Hasta LaVisca, baby! 2015, 10-5, touchdown! Touchdown, Colorado! 72 yards for LaVisca Chenault. Well, finally a breakout game for LaVisca Chenault. 9 receptions, 172 yards, and that 72-yard touchdown right there. But boy, the Buffs could not hold on. They fall for the 14th consecutive time to Southern Cal. 35-31 the final here at Folsom Field, along with Coach Gary Barnett, voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. That one stings a little bit.
It does. You get that close at home, ahead most of the game, and to let it slip away, that one's going to hurt for a while. There's no question about it. And, it didn't have to go that way. It didn't have to finish that way.
Where the penalties have become such a problem. That's now 32 penalties over the last 4 ball games. Another double-digit game, 13 penalties for over 100 yards.
Yeah, and I know, Mark, and we've talked about this for the last 2 weeks, and I don't know who or how it gets addressed, but it's got to be addressed. And I certainly know that these coaches are going to do something or have done something already, but they got that's a problem that's got to get solved. It's so obvious to everybody.
It came down in the second half. The Buffaloes, after being down 7-0, came pulled in 7-3. Then they took the lead early in that second quarter, up 10-7, and really controlled this ball game. But that offense bogged down in the second half. 4 consecutive possessions when they just came up empty and couldn't do much.
And 4 consecutive possessions at times when they had chances to win the game with a possession. I mean, it really was right there in their lap, and they did not run the ball effectively in those possessions. They had 1 first down, and we thought going into this game, if they get to the fourth quarter, that we might win that fourth quarter piece of it, and it worked out just the opposite.
Steven Montez bounced back with a nice ball game. He had 3 touchdowns passing, at 59, by the way, in his career, 1 behind Cephalou. Found Cody Hawkins now for the all-time record. Also had a rushing touchdown. He was kind of back on his game.
He was, but I'll tell you, and he played well. I think getting involved in the run game helped him a little bit, but our offensive line did a really nice job tonight protecting him. And, he had time. He had a cushion in front of him where he could step and throw, but they kept him clean most of the night.
Yeah, Mel Tucker has got such a steady hand with this team, even though they've lost 4 in a row, but he was outstanding once again in the locker room.
Okay, I hope you can see what type of football team we can make. What we can do. Okay? How do we get what we want? Okay? We made too many mistakes. Too many mistakes. Penalties. Okay? Busted coverages. Whatever it is, too many mistakes. That's execution and that's discipline. That's what that is. Okay? It's not talent. It's not effort. It's execution. I believe we have a good football team. We got to get the corrections made. We got to tighten the screws even tighter than we did last week. And we got to keep looking in that mirror. That dirty mirror, man. You got to look in that dirty mirror every day. What can I do to make myself a better football player? What can I do to help this team? What can I do from a detail standpoint? What can I do off the field? What can I do with nutrition? What can I do with rest and recovery? What can I do with film study? What can I do with technique? What can I do to help this team? Okay? Just like this. Okay? And at the top, man, where the best compete, success is measured in inches. And we got to get those inches. We're going to buckle up, buckle down, okay, and go back to work. That's what we're going to do. I'm telling you, that's what we're going to do. Okay, because this team will finish strong. Okay, you got to have faith in yourself, faith in your teammates, okay, that we can pull through, okay, and keep going and give ourselves a chance to win next week, okay, and I'm with you, and I believe in you, period, okay, and we love you, okay, and we're going to keep loving you.
Down on 3, 1, 2, 3,
Well, there was Mel Tucker postgame. He's got to have that steady hand on this team. Now they've lost 4 in a row. That's an important job for him right now to kind of guide this thing, right?
It really is, and he's playing with a lot of young guys and guys that probably aren't ready to play yet, but they have to, and that's just the situation he's in. And they brought a lot more pressure tonight, and it's funny talking to some critics afterwards. They felt like they needed to bring more pressure. That was 4 times the amount of pressure that he put on anybody all year, and I think it paid off. It kept them in this game. We're really young up front, Mark, and so we're not getting off blocks the way we're going to get off blocks. But that's part of the growing up process, and everybody's going through it right now that's a Buff fan.
Yeah, this defense, I know they gave up 500 yards again in this contest, so a lot of yardage. And again, 35 points, but they continue to play hard. They make plays. I mean, look at KJ Trujillo tonight. He had his first career interception and first career sack.
Well, I agree. They're playing hard. You know, they're just, right now, we don't have enough guys that are ready to play really well at this level. And it's a grown-up process, and like I said, we're going to all have to go through it as Buff fans.
Yeah, certainly a learning process for the Buffaloes as they end up falling for the 14th consecutive time to USC, a heartbreaker here tonight. 35-31 as they fall to the Trojans. We'll go ahead and take a timeout here in the Stampede. Soupy, Jeff Campbell, he was on the sidelines. He's going to join us next. Pumps, he looks, he rifles it, and it is picked off by the Buffaloes. Picked off on the far side of the field. The first career interception for K.J. Trujillo. The first career interception by K.J. Trujillo. What a play as he jumped that route, had the interception, had a sack a little later on, also had a pass broken up. That defense played hard, but the Buffs still fall. Back at the Stampede, voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson, Soupy, Jeff Campbell was doing the sidelines for us on radio in this ball game. That young defense, they're trying, man.
They really are. They're trying hard.
Yeah.
You know, I just think we're a couple players away from being really good. I think, you know, at the safety position, we're still really young. We don't have a lot of range. We got taken advantage of in some situations. But overall, guys like KD or KJ played great. He didn't play well last week. He's a character kid. He came back. He had a great week of work and had an excellent game today.
The other initial guy, KD, did have 2 touchdowns, by the way, in this ball game. 2 of the 3 that Steven Montez threw. You get down to key moments, though. And that offense we've talked about the last few weeks. More of a veteran group, a talented group, should be productive, and they had 4 straight empty possessions in that fourth quarter. That killed this team.
Well, you know, when you're trying to build a program and you're trying to take a program from point A to point B and you want to be ranked, the details are which are going to get you ranked. You cannot have that many penalties and expect to win ball games, number one.
No.
But you can't expect to start moving the program along until you clean that up.
It is a learning process, isn't it? You talked a little bit about back in your day, early on when he got here, having to learn to get rid of the mental mistakes, to make the plays at the right times.
Yeah, so your coaches are going to be able to prepare you for that game. When that game gets here, it's accountability at the player level. You have to be able to go to a huddle, and that huddle needs to be so intense about making sure that you're doing the right thing. When you have that, the program takes another step.
Yeah, and that applies to what we're talking about with the penalties with this team. Another 13 today. I mean, way too many. That's kind of the part of the accountability you're talking about, right?
Well, it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back,
yeah.
Right? And you can't have that. Against a team that has tradition like USC, and frankly, USC's not a great football team right now. I think they have a lot of holes.
Yeah.
But again, it's one of those things where if we're going to move the program, you have to have those kids buy into that accountability.
Yeah, it was a tough one for the Colorado Buffaloes. They led for the bulk of this ball game from the second quarter on, about late in that fourth quarter when USC finally took the lead. We're going to take you in the locker room now and catch up with a couple of the players we talked to postgame.
We just lost by inches. Like, it was like a few plays that we gave up that caused up the game. But like, we're just trying to fix those inches this week, and we're just gonna go harder this week than last week, and then we're just gonna try to get ready for what we see last week.
Definitely there towards the end of the game. I mean, we definitely had a couple of dry possessions in a row. So I mean, we got to be better, and we just got to fix those and come back and get more points in the second half. They were really playing hard up front, and we were just moving them, and we were getting lanes for our running backs to go run and make plays. And I mean, our O-line really played a hell of a game today. They played really well. I thought they played well in the pass game and in the run game.
I think defensively we're fighting the whole game. Our D-line, our backers, it was both getting after it, helping us out in the secondary, allowing us to be successful in the secondary. I think we played solid. We just a couple plays we didn't execute.
Yeah, it gets tough when you start losing a few games. That's where you kind of see what type of guys you got on the team. So I mean, the only thing that we can do is come back and work even harder than we've been working, and just try to be more focused and just try to have a better understanding of the game plan and try to play cleaner football, because we had a lot of penalties out there today. So, I mean, we do those things, and I think we'll put ourselves in a good position. But, I mean, if we do those things, then I think we should stay together as a team.
There's post-game from the locker room with a couple of the players as we continue with Jeff Campbell after the Buffs fall 35-31 to USC. Well, where do you go from here? You got a UCLA team next week in the Rose Bowl. Buffs have dropped 4 in a row now, but a winnable ball game, depending, I guess, which UCLA team you end up facing.
Well, you gotta learn from this game, and then you gotta forget about this game, and then you gotta take what you learned from this game and implement it the next game. So, football's a crazy game. It's one of those games that you have to forget from play to play, whether it's a good play or a bad play, you need to forget that play and move on. So games are the same way. If they're going to go out and play UCLA, it is going to be it's the old cliche, it's one play at a time. But that really is true for a team in this position.
Well, I guess you played receiver at the highest levels in National Football League. Get a thought or two about Laviska. I know we've raved about him, obviously. When he went through the injury, he seems to be coming back. 9 receptions, 172 yards, and a touchdown. You made a comment during one of our commercial breaks. You said, if you hit him low, you've got no chance of bringing him down because of the strength he's got. What do you see in him?
So the great thing about Laviska is he's very fast. He's very quick for a big guy. But if you're going to try to jam him on the line of scrimmage and you get your hands on him, he is going to eat you alive.
Right.
Because essentially what you're looking for as a receiver is on the line of scrimmage, you're looking to get somebody's hands off you, you're looking to get even, and then you're looking to get on top. He's so strong that he's going to be able to do that same thing to NFL DBs.
Yeah. How do you think his transition to that level is going to be?
It's going to take him a while. It takes everybody a while. You know, you have to learn. A lot of those guys have been in the league 10 years. They're crafty. They know what they're doing. They've worked on their craft for a long time. So he'll have a lot to learn, but once he learns it, he'll be excellent.
Steven Montez has struggled the last couple of ball games. I thought he had a bounce back here tonight.
He did. You know, he got some protection tonight finally. He had a chance to sit in the pocket and make some throws. I thought they did a very nice job of going to a short passing game early. That middle range, he still struggles with. I think he waits too long on that first read to get to the second read, but that's just him maturing. He'll mature along the way.
Steven had 3 passing touchdowns. He's now got 59, by the way. That's one shy of the school record 60 held by Seppa Lufau and Cody Hawkins. But the Buffaloes fall to the UC-USC Trojans 35-31. We'll take a timeout here in the Stampede. The men's basketball team had an exhibition over the weekend. We'll talk hoops coming up next. McKinley with the quick hands, pokes it away. Here goes Schwartz down the lane. He slams with 2 hands. Shoot for Colorado. Drop pass inside to Dallas. Bottle to catch with a hook shot over the top of Preston. Is up and good. Big D with his first 2. They got the captain. Walt with a hook shot for 12 and it rattles the balls. Dallas has got 2.
Nice looking jump hook.
We got some highlights from the Buffaloes' victory over Pomona Pitzer in their exhibition opener back at the Stampede. Voice of the Bus, Mark Johnson, head coach Tad Boyle for the Buffaloes. Nice opening, I think, event for your team over Pomona Pitzer. What was your takeaway?
Yeah, it was good. I think there's some really good things. We shot the ball well in the first half. Great to have Dallas Walton back and doing his thing. And he looked as good as like he's never had any time off. But he was out last year, so Deshaun Schwartz did some nice things. McKinley and Tyler really didn't do a lot, but we know what they're capable of doing. But that was we played 11 guys in the first half. Mark, we played 14 overall. Didn't get our walk-ons in, which I wasn't expecting to, but we've got a lot of guys in this team that can play, and we're still trying to figure out, as we how deep we go, and kind of looking for some separation down the lineup.
The Buffaloes led the Pac-12 in rebounding margin a year ago. You got out-rebounded by the Sage Hens, by the way. You still think this is going to be a very good rebounding team? We
are, yeah, and that was unacceptable. That's something we watch film on and talk to our guys about, that, hey, we've got to be we really talked a lot during the game, before the game, after the game, about playing the possession, and that's something great teams do. That's something we're going to have to do as this season goes on, is we have to play possessions. It doesn't matter if the score's tied or if you're down 20 or you're up 20. You don't play the scoreboard except for late in games or maybe late in halves. But other than that, we got to play possessions. And we did a good job of that, I thought, for about 25 minutes, and then not so good for 15.
How about Maddox Daniels? First chance the Buffs have had to see a chance to see him in game-type action. What do you think?
Absolutely. I thought it was good to get the uniform on and kind of get the jitters out. Maddox is going to be a good player for us. We need him to shoot the ball and stretch the defense with the new three-point line moving out. He's got good size. He's going to be a good player for us. So it's you just don't know how quickly guys are going to acclimate.
When you've got a team where there's a lot of newness, a lot of young guys, you really got to do a lot of teaching. You've got a veteran team. How does that change how you approach this season?
Well, your expectation level goes up. I think that's one of the reasons why people expect so much of us this year, and we expect so much of ourselves, is because you do have guys returning. I think you cannot take for granted that you guys know everything, but you've got to use last year as a springboard.
We'll keep talking basketball. The head coach of the Buffaloes, Tad Boyle, but last weekend was senior day for the CU soccer team, and we were there to watch 6 Buffs play the last game at Prenta Field.
had a soccer game today in the blizzard. No. We had senior day today earlier. We celebrated, which was awesome. It was really fun just to walk out with everybody.
As you can see, the weather is pretty rough. I think in my 4 years I've never played in snow like this, so we came out strong. I mean, it was senior day. We all were really pumped up for this game.
Well, I'm too cold to cry, but I have a lot of emotions right now. Fontenot Field has been amazing to me. This program has been amazing to me. So to play my last regular season match here is just overwhelming, and I'm just so blessed to be part of this program. I'm going to miss a lot of things, especially my teammates, the coaching staff, how they push me every day, and just having a great team atmosphere, and the fans were awesome. They stayed in the pouring cold, so
I'm going to miss everybody so much. Getting a goal on my senior day meant so much to me. I mean, on the run of play, I just got a pass from, I think it was Kelsey, and I just took a touch, and they left me the whole left side of the goal, so I'm going to take what they gave me. So, yeah, it really meant a lot to me to score on my senior day. My family's been through it all with me. My grandma, dad, whole mom's side of the family came out to support me today, and it really meant a lot for them to sit in 27-degree weather for me, so.
Go Buffs.
Just go Buffs.
Well, soccer had their senior day. The Buffaloes with a veteran team as they take off for their first road trip, and what a road trip it is, heading to China. We've known about this for a while, but that's a heck of an undertaking for you guys.
It's going to be a long trip. It's going to be an exciting trip, and I think our players are excited about it. I know our coaches are excited about it, and you know, a lot of times when in the United States, you know, you say you were playing a neutral court game, and a lot of times that's a lot closer to one team than another. It's really not. We were in South Dakota a few years with Iowa neutral court game, and that was not neutral court. I think Shanghai will truly be a neutral court game. So
now this trip has got a couple of different elements to it. First off, there's an educational element to this trip, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, our guys are going to learn about. I've already learned a little bit about the Chinese culture and what it entails, and seeing how a whole different country lives. I mean. Very few people are going to be speaking English in Shanghai, but it's we'll have an interpreter with us. The Pac-12 has done a really good job of kind of prepping us for this trip, and we're looking forward to it. But the educational piece in terms of traveling to a place like Shanghai, China is I mean, it's priceless.
There is a little bit of a warm-up next Wednesday. I won't get into the dates because of the timeline and all that.
Exactly,
but next Wednesday back here, you've got an exhibition against a Chinese team.
We do. University of Beijing, who won their version of the NCAA tournament last year. And from, again, what we've been told is going to be a good team, but probably, you know, to put it in American terms, a good, solid Division II team.
Okay.
I don't know how much size they'll have. A lot of the good players, you know, overseas, they play professionally right away. Their university system's a lot different than ours is over here.
And then you jump into it with a team that you're very familiar with. A lot of times when you have a trip like this, you're playing somebody you've never seen before. You've got a conference game that's not a conference game, if that makes sense, against Arizona State.
Yeah, and it's, you know, the good thing is the scouting report, although it's always important, we're very familiar with them, and they're familiar with us. And Coach Hurley's been there now for a few years, and they know our system, we know their system. They're going to have more new players than we will, but it's a familiar foe. So what it's allowed us to do is really concentrate on Colorado basketball and our development rather than having to worry about our opponent, you know, that we maybe have never seen before.
All right, when you get back, I want a few words of Chinese. You bring back just a little bit?
Shay.
Okay. Very good. I'm not sure what that means, but outstanding. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right. That's Tad Boyle. Ian and Butts will head off to China to take on the Sun Devils of Arizona State. Coming up next in the Stampede, we're sticking with basketball. JR Payne for the women's side joins us.
Backdoor cut. Q catches, lays it up and in. Good look by Kennedy Leonard there. Just the second turnover by Arizona underneath to Q. Little head fake. Got the player to go at the elbow, underneath to Hollingshed, step back for a three. Yeah, three on the way by Leonard. In and out won't go. Ani got the offensive board. He's fouled and count the bucket.
There's some highlights from some of the returning players for the CU women's basketball team back in the Stampede. Voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson, JR Payne, the head coach. You got a lot of newness on this team this year.
We do, yeah. Some days I come to practice, I'm not sure who's who, but we're making it through so far.
Now, with that being said, and so you got to kind of mold this group into a cohesive unit. Part of that will be not only them figuring out what they're trying to do, but you figuring them out as well, right?
Yeah, definitely. You know, the molding sort of the group has happened very quickly and very easily. We've got a tremendous group of young women that play really well together, love each other, work hard for each other. So that part's actually been pretty easy. Now we just have to tackle the X's and O's.
So you think about, you know, who you lost from last year. They seem like those two are around here forever, right? I mean, they're just a part of this program. Now they're gone. So who picks up some of that slack, or is this going to be a kind of a roster's going to have to pick up?
It's going to be a total group effort. Yeah, you don't replace Leonard and Robinson, their production with one or two players. You replace them with a team. And so, yeah, I think we're going to have a much more balanced attack offensively and defensively. And, it's just going to be more balanced this year.
So when you got veterans, I guess Quinessa Kalo-Doe, Pina Tuatele, Maya Hollingshed, are they the kind of people that you lean on early?
We are, yeah. I mean, we definitely. So we only have 3 upperclassmen this year, but we do have a lot of veterans. Just a handful of them are sophomores. But we're relying very heavily on the 3 that you just mentioned, as well as Sila Finau, who played more point guard last year than expected. But it's a good returning group.
Yeah, who becomes it? Does Sila become the point guard at this
Well,
point,
we have 2, and I truly foresee them playing equal minutes. I mean, if they're both playing 20 minutes, we're pretty good, and we can go in transition the way we want to. We've got a different style, with both point guards. Both are good in transition, though, and 2 pretty dynamic point guards.
So from a stylistic standpoint, I mean, you've got a system you want to run, but obviously every team's a little bit different.
Yeah.
How does this team fit into that system?
Yeah, well, this team is different in that we have a much deeper front court. Hollingshed is a veteran now. We have Tutele, like you said, who's a veteran. Charlotte Whitaker, Renee. We have a lot of depth, inside that we just haven't had in the past.
Talked to Peanut here a few weeks ago on one of our segments a little bit, and she was talking about kind of being here all off season, the commitment, understanding I'm getting older, more responsibility. What have you seen from her?
Well, she's just been fantastic. She sacrificed and stayed her entire summer here. At one point I said, P, you got to go home. She said, no, I've been home. I'm good. I've worked too hard, to go home. So she's in great shape. She's working hard. And she's just our most vocal player. So she gives us energy, on the floor, off the floor, both ends as well.
I got to like that kind of commitment. A short time ago, Coach Payne, the women's basketball program, had their women's basketball one-on-one, and we were there.
Welcome to One-on-One with Women's Basketball. We're really happy that you could be here this evening.
Would you mind sharing a fun personal fact about yourself that no one would ever guess?
Growing up, I was an avid reader of Shakespeare, and I actually have a tattoo of his quote on my shoulder.
I built a bookshelf in the shape of Africa for my school, for the black students in my school, because there was only like 10 of us, out of 500 kids.
I love superheroes. Embarrassingly, the way a 9-year-old little kid would love superheroes. That's how I love superheroes. I've got socks, shirts, pants. I've got laptop decals. I've got everything.
Obviously being international, didn't know much about America. So a bit of a culture shock when I first got here, just a little bit.
Maya, you bring such great energy to the court. And doesn't she have the best smile ever? Yeah, you can just see it, from anywhere in the arena. It's great.
I don't know how you keep up with our college curriculum and your athletics, but I thank you for the inspiration that you provide.
I have been on campus a long time, and I have to say this is probably one of the most special events I've ever been to.
Always a fun event, the CU Women's Basketball one-on-one. You seem to enjoy that little event.
It's the best event. For those of you that haven't come before, you should come. It's a great event. Some of the strongest female leaders on our campus come and spend time with our team. It's great interaction. The fans get to know our players. It's really fun.
They ask some really tough questions of your players as well, don't they?
They did. Yeah, they did. They, some personal stuff, some family stuff, some, future, who do you want to be in 10 years, that kind of thing. It's a great event.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, your team. I talked about some of the youth now. Give fans who maybe haven't seen your squad yet a highlight of some of these young players that we're going to see on the court this season.
Well, someone that people are really going to enjoy watching for many years to come is Charlotte Whitaker. She's a 6'4" freshman from New Zealand, and she actually came last January, redshirted in the spring, and she's very much sort of a veteran who hasn't played a basketball game in a year and a half since she's been here. So she's going to be great. She's versatile. She can shoot the ball, really strong, can just do a lot.
Who else?
Oh, Jalen Sherrod is going to play big minutes at the point guard position. She's a point guard from Birmingham, Alabama. We have Renee Smith from Philadelphia. We have Zuza Kulinska from Poland. We just have a real variety, of young kids, and all bring something different to the table.
I like it, kind of an international flavor
That's
on that
right,
squad,
that's right. We've got Australia, Poland, and New Zealand.
Very diverse group. All right, coming up on Monday, the Buffs have got an exhibition game against Regis here at the Event Center. What do you want to accomplish when you get out there on Monday?
I just want to play good, clean basketball. I don't expect the first quarter to be beautiful, just because we're going to have so many people that are under the lights for the very first time. time. But our goal is always to play good, clean basketball.
When you've got a team like this, is that fun for you to coach? Because
Oh,
there is a
yeah.
lot of newness.
Oh, yeah. I mean, every day with this group has been fun. They get along so well and just bring such tremendous energy every day that we're having a blast.
Buffs open up the regular season next Sunday as they'll take on New Jersey Institute of Technology. Give us a thought. We know what the Pac-12 is going to bring and how high level that's going to be. Your non-conference, how you feel about that schedule?
Yeah, I love our non-conference schedule. You know, we start with NJIT, who one of their assistant coaches was a coach here, Latanya Watson, so that's fun. But then we have Wisconsin, we have Denver, Colorado State, Wyoming, some tough road tests. So it's going to really challenge us and prepare us for Pac-12.
You're going to know a lot about this team by the time they get to Pac-12 conference play. Well, good luck.
Thank you. Go Buffs.
All right, that's JR Payne joining us as we talk basketball here in the Stampede. Thanks for joining us. I'm Voice of the Buffs, Mark Johnson. We'll talk to you next time.